What is up, YouTube? My name is Zuri Vankovich, and today we are going to talk about this foreign concept called waking up early. Believe it or not, there are some benefits that I personally have experienced, and apparently a lot of other people, of getting up on time. Now, contrary to popular belief, getting up early is an early indicator of success. Now, the reason I want to talk about this today is because I have undergone this experiment of getting up not just on time, but early. And what I wanted to share with you is some of the benefits that I've experienced and some of the annoying things that come along with getting up early as well. And hopefully you get some value and see if this is something that's going to be worth doing for you, or if you should hit the snooze button or get up on time and continue your comfortable journey as it is. Because truth be told, if you don't have to get up early, then it might not make a lot of sense for you and your lifestyle to get up early. Now, before jumping into the actual results of waking up early for the last 3 weeks or so, I want to jump into why I decided to do this endeavor in the first place. Now, the first reason is I didn't even really want to start getting up early. It's just something that I found myself during this 2020 pandemic, 2021 pandemic, getting a little bit comfortable in my ways. You know, working from home, jumping on Zoom meetings and having phone calls at 8 a.m., sneaking out of bed, sometimes 7 a.m., 7:15 can turn into 7:30, and not really having a ton of prep before starting my day. I was really letting my morning dictate the rest of how my day would go. Now, what happened over time is, the way with these bad habits work, you let one slip and you start going on a downward trajectory. I found myself in a bit of a rut, in terms of productivity and performance, and things were going good. I was comfortable, but I knew I wasn't acting at my peak performance. So I came across this book on YouTube. It's called The Miracle Morning. Now, The Miracle Morning is by this guy named Hal Elrod, and he started this whole thing. It's a routine that you do, getting up at 5 a.m. and starting for 60 minutes. You just prime yourself in the morning. So I decided to dive into it. Now, truth be told, I had the entire formula outlaid there. He talked about the concept, why it's going to be good for you, how it's going to change your life, and I didn't touch it for the first 7 days. I'm like, not today, there's no way, I didn't get enough sleep the night before, and so I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. Then something interesting happened when I was out for a walk and I was listening to the book. He said something really interesting. It's a concept that has stuck with me now. He said, the idea of getting 8 hours of sleep, which is something that I personally think I need to perform, at least 7. Anything less than that, I'm a write-off, right? That's the mindset. And he said there's a lot of studies being done that doesn't actually equate to anything. A lot of it could be a social construct. And this is his theory, that you don't actually need as much sleep as people think you do, like 7, 8, 9 hours a night. You look at a lot of peak performers out there, athletes or entrepreneurs that function really well off 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep every night. So that got my wheels turning a bit, and I started to think, what would happen if I only needed 5 hours of sleep instead of 8? And that was the story that I told myself. Now, the number one thing that was tough to do in this morning routine was actually going to bed on time. That was tough because I used to going to bed around midnight, a little bit later sometimes, rarely before like 11:30. And I'd get up at 7:15 or whatever. So getting to bed was the hardest part. But with the tools outlaid in the book, waking up was actually surprisingly easy the very first day. And the reason being, and here's one of the benefits, is the fact that he gives you a specific structure of what you have to do in the morning and able to complete. So you have like a checklist of things you got to do. And that checklist is as follows. The whole morning is 60 minutes. He says wake up at 5 a.m. or your chosen time. In my case, it was 6. So the very first thing is you're going to do 5 minutes of meditation. The second thing is you're going to do 5 minutes of affirmations, affirming to yourself how your day is going to go, who you are, and the identity you want to create. Third thing is visualization. Visualizing. The third thing is visualization. You do 5 minutes of visualizing how you want your day to go, your goals, your aspirations, and how it's going to feel when you accomplish those things, and you really visualize it. Then you do 20 minutes of exercise, going for a walk, doing stretching, yoga, going for a run, doing push-ups, sit-ups, whatever you can do for 20 minutes. And that's actually a good enough time to get a pretty good workout in, and so I'm learning. I've been using that as an opportunity to do yoga. I'm naturally a pretty stiff person. I do a lot of weights and body weight training and calisthenics. I don't do a whole lot of stretching. And yoga is something I've done in the past, but I've never really made it a habit simply because it's annoying to do. But this gives me a 18-minute window to set up my mat and actually get some stretching in, and it's really nice. Then the fifth thing you do is 20 minutes of reading. I don't remember if he specifies if that has to be a physical, tangible book that you're flipping through pages, or you can listen to an audio. I listen to a lot of audio throughout my day, so I'm choosing to use that time as a specific thing to actually flip through some pages. I know, old school, right? And lastly, you do 5 minutes of what he calls scribing, and that's really just a brain dump. It can be in a journal, dictating, even writing out your goals, just if you have anxieties or whatever you're prepping for your day, you get that all out of here and put it onto paper. And that whole process takes about 60 minutes, and it sounds like a long time, but what I'm realizing is I have to jump out of bed to be able to do all of that in 60 minutes. And actually, it takes me about 70 minutes from literally walking to the next activity and setting things up and getting out of bed. That's the first thing. So now I think it would be helpful to share a little bit about what I've been getting out of it and what other people may be able to expect getting out of it as well. So the first week, getting out of bed was actually really exciting. It wasn't that hard to jump out of bed, and because I actually had purpose. I had to firstly get up and do the very first thing, which is meditate. And it's almost like an activity course. So you're like forced to get up and do something. And actually that worked really well with me. In the past, when I do morning routines, I'd have a list of things and I'd take my time. I'd have a really slow morning. I'd write out journaling, all that stuff. It was very slow. I like that this is more fast paced and I have like places to be. Now, not gonna lie, I was getting up at 6 a.m. and I'm still getting up at 6 a.m. 3 weeks later, eventually gonna break to 5. There's a certain amount of, and I heard people talk about this before, that get up early, like 5 a.m. There's almost like an ego aspect to it. You're beating the rest of the world up on average. Now, a lot of people get up at 6. It's just early for me. But if you get up at 5, say, it's still dark out, you're beating the sun up. There's a sense of accomplishment of getting up before most people wake up. So waking up with purpose and actionable items was really, really helpful for me, and I really like that aspect. I'm going to continue doing that in the future. The sense of accomplishment of actually getting up and doing that first task in the morning, that feels really good as well. And then by the time 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock comes, it's like, holy smokes, I've done a pretty good amount of work today, and I still have the entire day left. So I really do like the aspect that I can control the morning and control the rest of my day, because then time going by after that, it feels a lot more manageable. I don't feel like I'm running behind. And that would happen to me a lot pre getting up early and having this set morning routine. Now, I also want to tell you that I'm getting a ton more energy. I'm just on fire for life. That first week, I was really tired by like 4 and 5 p.m. So that's one thing you can expect, is because you're waking up earlier, your body's not used to getting as much rest, you're going to want to take naps and stuff. And for me personally, I avoided taking those naps because I know with my body, if I take a nap during the day, it's going to be way harder falling asleep at night. So a really nice thing is the fact that you sleep a lot better when you're actually resting. Another thing I've noticed personally is that the nighttime routine is really solid for me. My body's naturally getting a little bit more tired around 10 to 10:30. And for me to hit 8 hours, I need to be like asleep by 10 o'clock. So normally I'm going to bed, I'm still getting to bed around 10:30 to 11 o'clock at night. I'd say the biggest benefit for me so far is the fact that I am getting more energy throughout my day. And I think the overall feeling of accomplishment is really, really benefiting me, at least mentally. And another thing is the fact that I was in a rut before this, or like a rut. Like I was in this mental thing where I wasn't getting up, waking up excited. I wasn't waking up feeling on fire. And that was translating to my work, my career, and how I really carried myself throughout my day. So the simple fact of feeling good throughout my day and feeling good in the morning, that is in return enough for me to continue wanting to do this. Now, for a couple disclaimers or things that I think you should know before trying this, is it has to make sense for your lifestyle, right? I'm not going to say, oh, everybody has to get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. like you're some sort of crazy serial entrepreneur or, a monk or something. You don't have to do that. So disclaimer number one, make sure that you actually have something to do in the morning. So for me, there was a lot of stuff I was putting off with marketing and, training and all this stuff that I wasn't doing, in the evenings or afternoons as much. So it's really forced me to, I have a lot to do to fill in that time that I'm earning in the morning. Because the last thing you want to do is wake up at 5 or 6 a.m., do this epic morning routine, and then you just go back to bed and then have to wake up again a couple hours later. Another aspect is not being perfect with this routine, right? So he's like, dude, you're going to want to get up at 5 a.m. every single day. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, your body's naturally just going to want to do it. I'm like, okay, dude, there's no way that I'm going to naturally want to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. And truthfully, getting up the first Sunday at 6 a.m., it wasn't that hard. It was actually a really, really cool feeling because I slept in the next Sunday till about 8 or 9. And I noticed, or maybe 10 o'clock, I didn't get out of bed or whatever. And then I noticed that because I was over-rested, my body was getting used to it, it was harder to fall asleep that Sunday night. Definitely don't beat yourself up. I haven't been perfect with it. I've probably slept in 3 times over the last 3 weeks. So I've been doing pretty good with it. And I'm not beating myself up. I'm really mindful to be like, hey, look, your body needed that rest. It was really hard to get out of bed that day on a Saturday. So I was happy with that. And the other thing to note is even if you don't start doing it every day consistently right off the bat, at least trying it is prepping you for something that you could develop that habit. I mean, no good habit just you pick up right away. It's really hard for people to just start working out 5 times a week. You can ease into it. Maybe you do it 3 work days a week. You're going to wake up early. No matter what, you're going to get up at that time. Make sure you're looking at the bigger picture. You're not going to be perfect. And if you are, that's amazing. And if not, give yourself a break. You're only human. So my overall analysis of the Miracle Morning by Mr. Hal Elrod. Am I saying that right? Hal Elrod. You, my good friend, came out with this epic thing that has got me out of this rut. And for that, I am really grateful. And I will continue to leverage the Miracle Morning. Now I'm consistently getting up at 6. Eventually I want to break the 5 a.m. mark. I think that would be really cool because honestly, now that I'm doing this, I don't know how I was not waking up earlier with the way my day's going. I'm like, man, I still have so much more to do. So I feel like that extra morning would actually be really, really good. And I'm aspiring to get there. And a question I like to pose to you is, what is your morning routine like? Have you found success in a specific routine that you've done consistently and you continue to do? And what's the craziest thing you've done in your morning routine? I know cold showers is something I'm trying to get back into. I'm only doing it for 30 seconds or 10 seconds. That's more like 5 seconds at the end of my shower. But yeah, tell me the craziest things that you guys do, what works for you. And thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next video.